topics. Welcome everyone again. Today's topic focuses on the nested project permission. How the locking works, which is a big new feature, 2020.1, is a completely different locking process. And I also talk about how to publish to nested project, the permission setting. This has not been changed, but also is good to recap. And then we'll talk about how the project leader rules work in the nested project. But before all that, I want to talk quickly about upgrades, because that's one question I got asked very often when I meet with other server admins. I love Tableau's pace of innovation. For last year, Tableau releases tens of new features. What I'm showing here is not all the features, but the ones my favorite, the big ones. Like 2019.1 ask data, 19.2 the permit action, and 19.3 encryption at rest, and also the Tableau catalog. Together with Tableau Prep Conductor and Tableau Catalog, you will need a separate data management add-on license. I've been using those features for the last few months. I definitely recommend those two features. The catalog works great. With 19.4, finally, your iOS users, iPhone, iPad users, they are able to get app using the Face ID or Touch ID without password. That's a great feature. I've been waiting for a long time. Now, recently for 20.1, dynamic parameters. Of course, this is a long waiting by many people. That is not something I'm going to present today. The viz animation, another big feature. What I'm going to show you today is about permission changes on the server, and mainly around the permissions, especially the locking permissions. I'll also show you very quickly about the Discover pane change for Tableau Desktop. That is also my idea. I do not plan to show you anything about external file store for Tableau server. That's part of 20.1 new feature. However, I do want to share with you that I've been teaming up with Tableau Dev for this feature for the last year or so, and I actually been using this feature on my server production for 1 year. It's very stable. Feel free to use that, mainly for better DR purpose. There are so many new feature releases from Tableau Dev team. We, as a server admins, we are actually between those new features and our server users. We have to upgrade the server before those features can be available to our users. The upgraded server is kind of hate and love situation. We all love those new innovations, new features from Tableau. However, nobody likes the risks, downtimes, that special efforts associated with every upgrade on the Tableau server. So what is my tips, tricks as a Tableau server admin? I've been upgrading my server since version 8. Number one, I think back. For the last many years, I've been upgrading my Tableau server. My number one tip is upgrade server often. So how often? In the last few years, I have mainly 2 major Tableau servers. We upgrade pretty much 2, 3, or 4 times a year. Depends on situation. you definitely want to upgrade your server as often as possible. Now, one big thing when we talk about server upgrade is the potential issues. In last year, sounds to me, Tableau dev team has done pretty good or much better regression testing. There are always some small issues with upgrade. However, I don't see a lot of regression issues. Mainly, I see some issues that have to do with new features. Now, one big thing is that we struggle is we put our efforts as a server team. We upgrade our servers. Then we got a lot of complaints potentially from our publishers. They're saying, hey, the server upgrade broken their dashboards. So this is one of my lessons learned. This is the one tip I'm going to share to everyone. You need to find a way to make your publishers doing the necessary workbook testing. Tell them server team does not do any of their workbook testing. This is self-service environment. They have to do whatever workbook testing if the workbook is so critical for them. So what happens is, no matter they do or not, what happens is if there are some issues that can be solved by modifying some workbooks, well, it's their accountability. They have to take on. That's my tip. Now, third tip is which version to choose. Choose latest version. I'm going to walk you through a little bit more. Let's say if you plan to upgrade your server later this month, do not choose 19.3 or older version anymore. Choose 19.4 or 20.1. Which one to choose depends on your server. I will recommend if your server has maybe 6 or 7 nodes or under or less, or maybe 100 cores, which means relative kind of smaller one, not huge one. You can go with the latest 20.1, even that's .0 release. That's what I plan to go for one of my servers this next weekend. However, if your server is super large, you may want to go 19.4.4. What if you plan to upgrade in April-May timeframe? You should go for the 20.1. By that time, maybe 20.1.1 or 21.1.2. What if you plan to upgrade in June timeframe? Then you will have a decision to make, either go to 20.1 or 20.2. That is what I plan to do for another server I have. All right, let's dive into the new feature for the nested project. Thank you so much for your voting for last year. So it's 2 years already, actually. So this feature was my idea. I posted as an idea in the community. I got quite a lot of your voting. Thank you. And of course, thanks to Tableau dev team make this feature available now. So what happened before 20.1? What is the behavior for locking? Number one, only top level project can be locked. If it is locked, all nested sub-projects are automatically locked with exactly same permissions. If unlocked, unfortunately, none of the nested projects can be locked. That has been the behavior for the last 2 years since this feature was available. The problem that we all face to has been is a very difficult situation. If I unlock, become very messy permissions, different workbooks may have different data access policies, data access permissions, although they reach out to the similar audience is very messy, very confusing over time when you have 10 or 20 workbooks. However, if you lock it, unfortunately, there are always a few workbooks that you wanted to go with different permissions. It's kind of really one size does not fit all. That has been the situation we all face. What you truly need, this is the one very common use case. I even got this use case from a Tableau community posting. Is, for example, you got a finance project. You lock it. The top level project is for whole finance team. And then you got sub project. It's for only senior leaders. You lock it. And then you got another subfolder is for the analyst. Locked, but with different permissions. Can you do that? The answer is yes. Thank you for 20.1 feature. Finally, it's available. It can be done. Although when I talked about this feature with one other Tableau Jedi, he was telling me, hey, he never saw this locking feature available in the documentation. Yeah, I have to say, I agree. The documentation Tableau's locking for 20.1 is not very clear, which is one reason triggered me to have this webinar. The implementation of the Tableau feature for this is very simple. A little flag, as you can see, a little checkbox, apply to nested project or not. How this works? Now, with 20.1, each sub-project can be locked or unlocked independently. Again, I repeat, each sub-project can be locked or unlocked independently. What it means? Give you 3 scenarios here. One is even the top level sales project is locked. However, the sub project other can be unlocked. Second scenario, a sub project can be locked, but with different permissions settings. Third scenario, where parent is not locked, however, a child project is locked and also with whatever permissions you want to set. I know it's hard to grab how this works until you see it. Let's do a demo. You are looking at my testing server. Okay. For those who are not being the 19.2, you notice now the menu is on the left side. The testing server version is 20.1. I got a project I named lock just for your convenience. If you check the permission, hopefully you can see the permission. Okay. The permission, it says locked. If you want to edit, you can see it's locked, but I did not check this flag. So I'm lock this top level project, but I do not want to apply to the nested projects. Okay. All right. So this is the top level project is locked. And then look, my sub project. I called unlocked, named unlocked. You check permission. It is unlocked. Simple enough. All right, let's check another sub project. It's another sub project within the locked parent project. Let's check this permission setting is also locked. As you can see, each sub-project can be locked or not independently with the top level project. Okay. I even have a further level 3 project, which is customizable, means unlocked. See, as you can see, if I go to my project chain, I got locked with different permissions, unlocked. You can have freedom of setting whatever way you want. This is what I call the big little feature of this 20.1. Again, if I recap, each sub-project can be logged or not independently. There are at least 3 different scenarios. Let me walk you through some use cases quickly. Let's say you have a project, 80% of the content you won't have the same permission, but 20% of various different permission. How you do that? Well, now with 20.1, you can log, for example, parent and log a child. 80% of the same permission content should be published to the parent. That's one way. You can do other way around. You can leave the parent as unlocked, but log a child. You achieve the same thing, 80-20. Use case number 2. This is, again, very common use case. You'll find everywhere, where you have a worldwide project. You also have a regional projects. You want to lock them, but lock them with different permissions. For example, only the West region publishers can publish the West, and also only the West interactors can see the West. This is how you will set up at the project level and at the workbook level, as example. All right, how you do that? The screenshot shows you how this can be done at the sales top level project and also at the child project. At each child project, you just say locked. You may want to select apply to nested or not, depends on if you have a further lower level projects. Use case number 3. Use case number 4. You can have a mixed different permissions, locking some of the nested projects, but not others. Can be done. You can even have a further mixed type of controls you want to have. Basically, as a recap on the locking, one key takeaway is that each sub-project can be locked independently. I think this is a game changer for all of us start to use the project hierarchy or nested project. This is the big change. All right, move on next topic. How to set up the publisher permissions to the nested project or to the child project. By the way, this has not been changed for a while, at least for the last few releases. 3 things are needed in order to publish to a child project. One is, of course, you need to have the right CIDR rule. Either creator or explorer can publish, depends on your license. The second one, that is the one I wanted to highlight. That's the one that is very difficult to miss, or it's not easy to understand. That is that in order for you to publish to a child, you have to have a view permission at parent project level. Again, you have to have a view permission, which I'll show you more. And of course, number 3 is you need to have a publish permission at a child project. Example. In order for a user to publish to the West project, West is a child of sales, this user has to have a view permission at the project level of sales. And this user has to have a publish permission at the West. Now, I know you have a question about the view permission. What is a view permission at a project level? Here's what you need to take away. 2 points. One is view permission at a project level does not mean any content visibility. When I say content, it means no matter it's workbook, data source, or flow. View permission at a project doesn't mean that the user will have any workbook access at all. This is a project level. The view permission at a project level only allows this user to see the project exists. Example number 2. In order for a user to publish to, for example, California project, CA, that is under West, that is under South, this user has to have, of course, view permission not only to the West, that is parent, and also to the South, that is grandparent. Think about that. That can be quite some setup. You have to have the viewer permission not only for your direct parent, but also for all the parents until top. Otherwise, you just cannot see the project exist. And then you need to have publish permission to the specific child project. And of course, side rule. Let's see it. I'm going to look at, let's say look at the log project. Let's see who I gave the publisher permission. I gave nobody publisher permission, but I gave a viewer permission to publisher 1 to 3. Okay. And I'm looking for next project. Let me see the project permission I have here. I gave it to all the projects. Sorry, all the publishers. This is a group. Let's say 3. I gave a special 3. Let me take this out just to simplify the things. Oh, by the way, this is a new feature for permission change. If you have not been here yet, the permission change is now much more user-friendly. Adding permissions, there are a few changes. Let me do a demo here. One is that notice that you can copy permission. I say I'm going to copy permission to another place. You can paste permission. So that's one thing. Okay. This time I didn't change anything. You can copy permission. Second one is you can set project leader right here. It's different. It's different before. That's a second change. Third change is the add button becomes here, not on the right side anymore. Not only that, and also now you can, when you add, it searches both user and a group automatically. In the past, you will have to choose, you're going to give user or group permissions, right? Now you like, this is my group, publishers, and this is the user. Now you can see Tableau's UI for permission change is a little bit more streamlined. Although you cannot copy a permission from one workbook to another workbook, but now you can copy the permissions from one line to another line, basically, for the same workbook or data source or project. So that's a detour. And that's also a new feature. We talk about, let me remove this one. So we talk about, I'm giving publisher 3 a publisher permission at this child project. Again, for the top level project, the publisher 3 has viewer permission, but publisher 1 or 2 also has viewer permission. Let me take this out. Okay, simplify these things. Let me take this out. So for the top level, I only give publisher 3 the view permission. Now go back to the child project. Okay, I gave a publisher 3, and also I plan to give publisher 2 as well. Okay, publisher 2, the publish permission. So if you're able to follow me, basically, although publisher 2 and 3 both have publisher permission at the child project, but since the parent project has view permission only to publisher 3, that means only publisher 3 can publish to the child project. That's it. I'm going to open my Tableau desktop. Okay. I sign in the server already. I'm going to publish to the site. I'm going to choose the logged project. Oh, I forgot to show you which user I signed in. Okay, let me show you. Let me do that, making sure I sign up. Okay, I need to show you which user I signed in. That's different. That's important. Let me sign out. Sign in this user. So I'm going to sign in, for example, publisher 1 first. Okay. I'm going to choose this demo project. I'm going to publish workbook, which is the sample superstore workbook. I'm looking for the log folder I don't see, because log folder, if you remember, log folder, I did not give publisher 1 the view permission. Okay. Although the publisher 1 has publisher permission, oh, I didn't do a publisher 1. I log out wrongly. Let's show publisher 2. Okay, instead, let me log off again using publisher 2 instead. Okay. Sorry for that. I'm going to sign off again. I'm going to sign in again. Now I'm going to try the publisher 2. Publisher number 2. Again, publisher number 2. As you can see, I'm going to publish my workbook. Publisher number 2 does not have visibility on log either. Doesn't have. Although the publisher 2 has permission to the sub project, doesn't matter. I cannot publish. I cannot see that parent exists. So I cannot go to the sub project. That is why I was saying that view permission has to be available to all the way up to the top level. Now I'm going to log off publisher 2. I'm going to sign in as publisher 3 instead. Publisher 3. Publish project, publish workbook again. Now I see a log project. As you can see, a log. This is a very nice UI. I don't know if you can see closely enough. It's kind of a grayed out. It means I cannot publish to this log, but there's an error over there. I can publish to one of the sub projects. If it's grayed out, that means I cannot publish, but I have a visibility. I can see it. I have to be able to see it in order for me to go to navigate to the child project. Hopefully you got that. That is important. That is extra setting, unfortunately. But that is necessary to be able to publish. As a recap, in order for a user to publish to a child, this user has to have not only the publisher permission here, not only have a right side rule, but also has to have view permission to all the level to the top project. In other words, this user cannot see this sub project exists. All right. It's halfway through. Let me take a few quick questions before I jump into the project leader thing. Let me take a few questions. I'm going to start with the people submitted first. I will leave more time at the end of QA, but I just take a very few. Oh, then people asking REST API, document API to support this change. Actually, I don't know. I'm not try. Both very good question. I've not tried REST API to support it or not. Did you do, Charlie has a question, did you do Tableau and R integration before? If yes, how is the status? This is nothing to do with the permission. However, I'm interested in the R and the Python integration. Unfortunately, did not work for me yet because my server serves multiple teams. Each team has their own Python server. The feature what I'm looking for is to have one Tableau server being able to connect to multiple Python or R servers so they can manage their own library and everything. I know there's a workaround, but I'm waiting for this to be available in next 2 or 3 releases. That's what I heard. Question, I'll come back with a tab, Jill. Let me see if any questions for the logging. Okay. Shama has a question around unlock. If you can unlock or lock netted project independently and freely, yes, it is. What is the difference of lock and unlock the parent's project? That's a very good question. Actually, when you lock the parent, anything published to the parent, not to the child, okay, to the parent, will be locked with the permissions that you enforced at the project level. If you unlock the parent, and anything you publish to the parent, of course, can be owner managed permission. So that's different. However, that no matter parent lock and unlock, there's a flag that you control if impacts the child or not. That's a flag. So if you lock parent, but you don't uncheck this box, it doesn't matter, does not impact the child project. That's all I say. But still lock the parent and lock parent. There is difference. Again, as recap, the main difference is that if you lock parents, for example, this one is locked, everything will be enforced. In this case, setting up is wrong. I guess if I do Explorer here, only for publisher 3, basically if this is locked, any content published here at this project will be forced with this permission. That's all. Corey has question, how does the new feature impact user filter for rule level security? I do not think this locking or not has anything to do with rule level security. No matter your workbook data source has rule level security or not, this locking feature works exactly the same way. All right. I'm going to answer one more question before I go back to my slides or demo. Elysis, is anyone using the LBLM license model for its user and also on 20.1? We're planning for our upgrade and would like to know if there are any pitfalls that we need to watch. We ran into the issue upgrading the user desktop to 19.4. Tableau indicates is now fixed 4.3. Okay. I'm not aware of the specific issues. If Tableau saying it's fixed 4.3, I will recommend you upgrade your Tableau desktop to 4.3, 19.4.3, even to 19.4.4. Although your Tableau server can still stay with whatever 19.4 version. All right. I'll come back with those questions. Let me continue to finish my last session of the presentation. So far, we covered locking. You can lock any sub-project as you want independently. We also talk about the publishing permission setting, where you need to give the view permission for all the level projects up to the top in order for this user to be able to publish to child. Now I'm going to talk about the project leader rule, how the project leader rule works. First of all, you can think project leader is really a project admin. It's a really super user. It's a special privileged user. There are a long list of things that the project leader or project owner is able to do, like change, refresh schedule, modify as workbook when the person is on vacation or the one person left the team or left the company. You can delete the workbook. You can do many things. You can do many things. How do you remember what things this person can do, this project leader can do? Well, remember one thing. That is a project leader or owner is able to change the workbook or data source ownership. He can change the owner to himself, or he can change the owner to somebody else. Think about that. If I'm a project leader and someone else has a workbook in my project, I'm able to change the owner to me. Now I'm becoming a new owner. I can do anything, everything about the workbook. Think about that. Pretty much project leader has the same privilege as content owner, but more than that actually, because the project leader can manage the permission at a project level as well. But for the content in the project, the project leader can do anything, everything. You can think that way. Now, what is the difference between project owner versus project leader? Other than the project owner is individual. One project can only have one owner. It cannot have more than one owner. We got that? As a project leader, you can have multiple people, or you can have a group. We got that? But other than that, what are the difference between owner versus leader? I'm summarizing two key differences. One is that owner can change the project owner. If I'm a project owner, I can give the owner to somebody else, but leader cannot. Leader cannot change the project owner. That's one. Second one, as owner, I can delete the project. Project leader cannot delete the project. And of course, I can add a new project leader, but that's the same. As owner, you can add a new project leader. As a project leader, you can also add a new project owner. Sorry, you can. As a project leader, you can also add a new project leader, or you can delay the project leader. That's the same between leader and owner, but only two key differences. That's how I see it. Let me know if you see something differently. Permission is very tricky. Now, if you have a question, what is different between project leader, owner versus site admins? Well, the project leader or owner is pretty much the project admin. This user or this user group can do anything, everything for the project, but site admin can do the same, but for any projects in the site. And of course, site admin has more privilege. For example, site admin has some privileged API functions only available for site admins and many others. All right. Talk about project owner again. Who can create a project? For top level project, again, this is no change for last few release. Only admins can create top level project. That's number one. However, both project leaders and the project owner can create sub-projects. Number three, whoever created the project becomes the owner by default. And think about for top level projects, since only admins can create them, I strongly recommend that after top level project is created by admins, change the owner from admin to the requester, to whoever requested the top level project. So they can rename it, they can add project leaders and so on. They can do anything they want. How the project leader and owner inherit works. This is another thing is not easy to understand, but I try to draw it here in a simple way. I have a project that has 3 levels. Level 1, customer solutions. Level 2, customer solution training. Level 3, customer solution training / classroom, so on. And I have 2 icons here. The O1 means owner 1, L1 means leader, project leader 1. Try to show it for you in a simple way. First thing to remember is if you are owner or leader on the parent, the rule will be inherited to all the sub-projects, all the nested projects as project leader. Okay, that's the important one. I'll repeat. For example, owner 1 now will become a project leader rule in the CS/training project. Same thing, owner 1 will become project leader rule in the CS/training / classroom project. It's inherited, but become project leader, not owner. Whoever created the sub-project becomes the owner automatically, remember that. But if I'm leader on the top, or if I'm the owner on the top, I become a leader automatically, which also means that if you are the owner or leader on the top of project, you can still see anything, everything within every single nested project. Just be aware. And of course, as project number 2, CS/training, you can have additional project leaders. You can have someone else as an owner as well. And guess what? The L2 user or the O2 user will also automatically become project leader rule in the child project. This is how it works. And again, this has not been changed at all for last few releases. Of course, you can also add project leader 3 and project owner 3 as well, of course. All right, let's do a recap, then come back to more KYAs. Key takeaways. Number 1, upgrade your server as often as possible. Recommend 2 to 4 times a year. Recommend go with the latest version, but do not upgrade the .NET version 10 or 8. So when in community, I saw someone was trying to upgrade from 10.5.4 to 10.5.8. I said, why? That doesn't make sense for me. When you are ready to upgrade, try to choose latest version that can make new features available to your users. There will be some issues with upgrade. A lot of those environmental issues. If you upgrade the server often, a lot of those issues will be solved by other teams over time. So you don't see that many issues anymore. If you upgrade only once a year, likely you will see more issues for every upgrade because those environmental issues. Now with 20.1, finally you can use nested projects. So you don't have to create so many top-level projects anymore. Encourage the project leaders, owners to use nested feature because now you can log every single child project independently. Remember, educate your publishers to give the parent project view permission. View permission is necessary in order for that user to publish to a nested project. That should be your takeaway number 3. Leverage project leaders for more self-service. Both project leaders and the owner can have super privilege. They can reschedule the extracts for any workbooks in the project. They can make quick changes if some owners that have vacation schedules or not available, your manager wants to have a quick change, the project leaders are able to make quick changes. And the project leaders can also change the ownership of the workbook to other person. If you have people move from outside your team and now you have people moved out of your company and so on, leverage project leaders. They can help us doing a lot more self-service, so we can enable them more. All right, let's do a final QA. And of course, you post your questions ongoing to Tableau community, and you can also send me an email later on for more additional questions. Also, you can go to my blog site to see how Tableau server goes in the large enterprise environment. All right, let me go back to the questions. I got 30 questions lined up. I may not be able to answer all of them. We have 10 minutes left, although I'm happy to stay a little bit longer after this top of the hour. Let me go back from the beginner question, Brian Brooks. Does anyone use Scott or Tableau to help some of the testing? Yes, I do use Tableau quite a bit, mainly for the load testing. We use Scott a little bit in the past, a little bit not so easy to use. Okay, but it's mainly for load testing. Michael, is any automation capabilities to test workbook viability after upgrade Tableau server? User tend not to do UAT and only report issues after the fact. I agree, Michael. This is where I was saying, as a server admin, we need to make it very clear that server team does not test their workbooks. Although we may want to test some of the workbooks, like most common one, but we need to make clear multiple communications. We do not test their workbooks. It's their responsibility to test their own critical workbooks. If there are issues after upgrade, they'll complain. You can tell them, you can ask them why you didn't test. If they didn't test, it is their problem. Next upgrade cycle, they will. That's how I do it. Otherwise, you can. If we as a server admin, we take on the responsibility of testing of the workbook, there's no way. We will be always blamed. We have to make they're accountable for. That's my recommendation to solve this. That may not work for Michael and everyone else, but that's how we do it here, and it's how I feel works very well. Santosh, we have a plan to upgrade our server during April. That's great. What will be the version to go? If you upgrade your server in April time frame, here's my recommendation. If you do April time frame, you should go with 20.1, whatever version by the time is latest. You can test 20.1.0 right now. As soon as by April, likely they should have another 2 release to be out. Just choose latest one by that time, which should be 20.1.1 or 20.1.2, depends on which part of April. That's my recommendation. That's what I would do as well. Great question. Mohammed, say you're exclusively denied to edit on top level project, locked, but exclusively allow on the nested project. Will you be allowed to edit or non-edit in the nest project? Let me try to understand. So if you on the top level locked, you deny someone, okay? But you also allowed it on the nested. Well, this is where I think, Mohammed, if you are still here, I want to show you. If you, I think that's your question. Okay, if you deny this person, okay, deny this person, publish 3, but this is a locked. But check here. Check the locking, how locking is done right now. This locking, you can deny one person, one group, but I did not select apply to nested. So means the nested project doesn't matter. It's still independent. That's a key change. Okay. I did not check apply to nested, means my permission here at the top level project, no matter deny or allow anything, does not impact nested project at all. That's my understanding. Okay, Nick, next question. In the REST API, are you able to set nested locking option? I have not tried this yet. Nick, you may want to try that. I'll Google it out. I have not tried this API for the locking permission. I will assume it can, but always the REST API does not have all the features available on the UI. We all know that. Ivan, hello. When you change permission on a project, is there any way to apply those changes to the existing content in the project? Yeah, of course. Okay, Ivan has a very good question. The question is around, if you change a permission on the project, how do you apply the changes to the existing project? Okay, I'm assuming the project is unlocked, because if it is locked, that's easy, right? The answer is yes, applies automatically. But what if the project is unlocked? This is a trick I learned from one of my users, okay? Let's say I have a project that's unlocked, okay? People have many content, pretty messy, but you want to streamline this permission. So it's two-step process. One is you lock, before the change, take a screenshot on the permissions setting where we are right now, okay? Because this cannot be undo. Take a screenshot on the permissions, okay? And then you lock it, means all the content in a project will be exactly same permission, but that's not what you wanted. And you can go back, change very few one by one back to whatever permissions they want. This is one option. This is what I learned from one of my users. That has been the way, older way. Now it's better. Now there's a better way, okay? What is the better way? Well, now you can create a sub project, okay? You can create sub project, for example, new project, new lock, okay? You can create sub project, then you are going to lock this project permission. You're going to lock this, okay? All right, you can lock this. You can move most of the content here from unlocked to the new lock project. When you move over there, guess what? The permission will be streamlined automatically from this project level permission because this is locked, right? Okay, the permission will be streamlined here. That's it. That's one way to do. That's a better way to do it right now with this new feature. So basically, you are kind of finding a way right now. Tableau provide us better way to streamline most of the content permissions in a project, even not all. I mean, if all is easier. Sorry, it's a long answer. Hopefully that helps. Another question, what is your side role now? Brian has a question, is there a way to look for a specific user to see all the permissions this user in one place? Oh, for all the projects, all the workbooks? Well, you have to build your own workbook from Postgres. I think I posted one workbook before, if I can find it. Yes, you have to write by yourself. There's no such feature available out of box, but as a server admin, we have access to Postgres. You can build that. You can build a workbook for yourself. Jay Patter has a question around, is there a possibility of adding new customized template permission? I'm not aware of that. It's a very good question. I don't think they are, yeah, this is a question, create an idea if there's not similar idea already. That's a good one. Jeremy Morgan, stealing this question that Jay Plater posted and in the general chat, thank you. Is there a possibility of adding new? Okay, I think the answer is no. There's no such feature available yet. Traverse, what happens to a project permission when a project are moved into a parent? This is a very good question. Traverse, again, your question is, what happens to the project permission when projects are moved into another project? Okay. I don't have time to demo this, but how it works with the project permission when it is moved from one place to another place is that if the project, for any content that in a project, if they have exclusively given permissions, no matter what permissions you gave, those workbook level permissions will not be changed when the project is moved from one place to another place, okay? However, the inherited project permissions will be changed. The inherited is like this. The inherit project permission like this. Okay, this is what we talk about. Okay. This inherit always works, even after after the move to a new project. Means, for example, if you want to move all the content, if you want to move this project from training/classroom back, move up to the level 1. Okay, let's say if you move this project up to level 1, I cannot show it here. Okay, and then level 2 will not be the project leader anymore here. Level 2, L2, O2 will not be the project leader anymore. Although those owners will still be there. And this, of course, is coming from here. So those will stay. But this won't be the new project leader anymore if you move the project 3 up to top level. Okay, hope this answers the question. Now it is the top of the hour. I can definitely go 10 more minutes. There's still a bunch of questions. But for those who have other commitments, feel free to drop. I'll continue with the rest of the questions. Piyush, do you know if you have a server admin add-on for Linux? Yes, of course. Server admin add-on works for both Linux and Windows. Of course, 20.1 version. Yes, and I strongly recommend server admin. Okay, you talk about server admin add-on. Yes, it's available. Based on my testing, the server management add-on has more challenge. I don't know if I recommend anyone to use at this point in time, but feel free to try it. But I strongly recommend the data management add-on. Joseph, what will happen if you check apply to nested project for a parent, but then you go on to configure customized permission for the child? You cannot. You cannot. Basically, if you check the apply, if you check this flag, let me show you, apply to nested, then you cannot configure any child anymore, period. This goes back to the old behavior. That's all. Kevin, what permission rule is also a setup? What permission rule is able to set up or modify the project locking? Okay, that's project leader or project owner. Can this be done as publisher? No. Do you need to be a site admin? No. Who can change, modify the lockings? Only the project leader, project owner, and of course, all the site admins. Santosh, what is permission with the group in the nested project? That's the same for the nested project permission, no matter the group or user that work same way. Jeffrey, viewer of nested project does not need a view access to the parent project. Jeffrey's question is not publisher, it's for the interactors. If you are interactors, okay, the permission goes at the workbook level and never goes to project level. You don't need to worry about a nested project or not. You never need to give the project level permissions to any of your interactors. Although you can if you want, but doesn't matter. Okay, that should answer your question. Joshua, with nested folder permission, what is the driver or benefits of multiple sites? That's a very good question, Joshua. Why we still need multiple sites? Now we have nested project permissions you can manage, you can do a lot of more things, you can have more sub-projects. Yes, that's a very good question. Actually, I'm reducing my site. I'm changing my site strategy. I'm reducing the number of sites. I'm slowing down new site creations. Part of the reasons is because there is better nested project feature available. I agree with you, but you still may need a site for other reasons. Let's say for partition reasons. So site is a partition for all your users and groups. Another reason maybe a few super users, they really want to automate a lot of things that need this API only being available to site admins. Okay, they may want to manage their own kind of space, better automation. Then you may still need a site, but over years, I kind of went to a lot of sites approach. Right now, I'm reducing to fewer sites. Size is good, but also it has a lot of more maintenance, more problems, more work. Good question. Nick, does nested project initially inherited permission from parents? Yes, this is where I just showed already actually. Chris, this might be a little off topic, but I'm looking for info on how to pass authentication ticket through the JavaScript API. Authentication ticket through JavaScript API. Yeah, Chris, unfortunately, I'm not expert for the JavaScript APIs and with authentication. You may want to post your question to the community. There are a lot of experts in the community can help you answer. Go to server admin user group. Another Chris, I know there is option you can pass on, but I'm not sure which properties is for that. I guess try to answer a question, not a question. Gail Kim, can project leader / owner create separate subscriptions for the views to other user? Actually, yes, I think so. Can project leader owner create separate subscriptions for others? I think so. Next question, Tom Haskell. Is there a way to allow project leader to do full function they can, except logging? No, I'm not aware of that. So what Tom is looking for is a project leader can do all the other functions but cannot log. It's not available. Great idea. Jeff, hey Mark, how does your company deal with change of ownership with embedded credential? When you change ownership, the credential changes. You're right, Jeff. Jeff, you're definitely right. If you change ownership of your workbook, the credential is invalid. You have to give a new credential. Of course, that's a given. Actually, I think it's a good feature. If I change the owner to me, but database credential still with the other person, I'm not quite sure if this is the right thing. So I think the current approach is right. I need to give my own database access credential after I change the workbook owners. You're right. Another, Chris, is it possible to store these and a different username so that I can call them from Angular and get all the these and a username? Is it possible to store these and different username so I can call them from Angular or get all the these and the username? I'm not quite sure if I made a follow your question, Chris. I'm moving on next one. Bill Taylor, can you assign a group as a project leader? Yes. A group can be a project leader. Also, multiple groups can be a project leader. No worries. However, I do not recommend to have too many project leaders at all. What I recommend is that one project only has maybe maximum 3 people can be the project leader, because project leader has super powerful privilege. They can delete all the workbooks. They can do many things. Now, unless your team has really trusted relationship a lot among those people, otherwise, if things go wrong, it's difficult to figure out who did that. I normally see the more mature teams, they only give 1 or maximum 2 people as project leader. Don't give too many. So you can hold them accountable for truly the project management admin and also content admin as well. Don't give too many, although technically it's possible you can give to as many as you want, but don't give too many people as a project leader for the same project. Question from Matt Kors. What job title do your project owner typically hold? Open questions. What job titles? That's also a good question. I don't know. What job title do we give project owners? I see the mixed in the mature teams where the project leaders, they are truly the project leaders. They're making sure that they own multiple projects in their team. They're making sure naming conventions are correct. Then they may have a data-centric data project only, that only for published data sources. They're making sure that people are able to publish the right project. They took the leadership, organized their project the right way with the right naming convention, gave the right descriptions, and so on. No matter what title they have, those are right people as a project leader. However, on the other stream, I see, because it's a sales service, not everyone has the same level of understanding of the permission, project management, Tableau, and so on. There's some newer teams where their request project as server team, we gave them as a project, and by default, we gave them as owner. So actually, I don't know. I don't know if they are truly knowledgeable for being a project owner, to be honest with you. So now I'm changing my process a little bit where try to provide more education. For example, sending out a video alert is to be done, okay? But I already have the document. It's going to be done very soon. So when a new project is created and there is a new owner or new project leader, we'll send them video alert, give them documents and role responsibilities and what they can do as a project leader and owner. This is what we are trying to do in the next few weeks. Not necessarily for job title, but making sure they are aware that they can do a lot of things, very powerful, don't make huge mistakes, but also be aware they have a lot of accountabilities, responsibilities. I don't know if this answers your question, but this is a great question, Matt. Next one, Nancy. Can a viewer have access to the customer view? Yes, of course. And also, can a viewer download the full data, not only the summary data? You control it. But truly, if you talk about the viewer as a viewer, That's which is a slider rule that cannot download, I believe. However, if your viewer in your question means the interactors, and does this interactor have permission to download full data? That is controlled at each workbook level as permission setting. Can be controlled by owners or can be controlled at a project level if the project is locked. Vivek, does the new version has compatibility to authenticate both local Windows AD? I'm not aware of this new version issue. It should be working the same way as before, Vivek. Ashok, we are now on 10.5.3. Shall I upgrade to 20.1 around April timeframe? Yes. Around April timeframe next month, you should go with 20.1 for sure. That's what I'm going next week for 20.1. Frank, what is usual length time of UAT? I post UAT for about a month. However, my experience is that a lot of publishers that don't even bother testing. But I made it clear if they don't testing, testing whatever, workbook level issue is their problem, not my problem, unless there is a server issue after upgrade. If the issues after upgrade can be solved by changing the workbook, I'm not too concerned. Stephanie, where will you recommend publishing data sources? And each respective folders. The question is around data sources. Where do we recommend and publish data sources? Actually, technically, it doesn't matter which folder you publish data sources. All goes by permissions. As long as you give the connect permissions to the group of publishers, they are able to access it. Even those data sources are published on a separate parent project. Actually, that is what more mature teams are doing, where they create a separate project only for data sources. Okay, all the data sources are published over there. Only fewer people are able to connect to the main data source, publishing the main data sources, and then giving the connect permission to the rest of 20 publishers in the team to access. Creating a separate folder for publishing data source only is great practice. No matter you can do it either a separate parent project or in one of the sub projects you control. Either way, but great practice. Great question. Practic, off topic but exciting. What is the? Oh, you're asking what is my customer status? This is a small customizations we did. I don't know if you care. The question is around this. What is this dumb thing? You click here, I see something else, but don't worry about that. Sorry, this is customizations we did. Yeah. Okay. With those new permission feature, how do you generate the metadata info? Who has permission by what site? I think this is the same. I think it's the same. I need to go back to validate. I think that's the same when you have the workbook with the site level permission. So I'm almost there. I think 5 more minutes, we'll get to the bottom of the questions. Vivek Lee, if I deny the user in a root project, means top level project, even I give view access to a nested, will the user be able to access nested project? Yes. If it denied, but unchecked applied, okay, if you deny the user, again, this is question come back again, but just let's see it. If you deny a user from a top, okay, as long as you uncheck apply to nested, that doesn't matter for nested. Okay, that's again, that's the answer. As long as you uncheck applied, it does not apply to nested, no matter whatever setting you have on the parent, no matter denied or not. But maybe I'll confirm again myself for the denying situation, but I don't think applies. Okay. But I have not tested this specific scenario. I will. Sure, Ashok, can you share your workbook? I don't have a workbook to share. This is my sample. I don't know which workbook you talk about. If you talk about permission workbook, I'll go dig out. I'll republish the permission workbook. predict when will resource monitoring tool be available on Linux agent as a part of a server management add-on? Actually, I don't know. This is a question to the Tableau dev team, but my own experience is the resource management tool. It's not quite mature yet. Shauna Morgan, do you have recommendation on another server management tool than Tableau server? Than Tableau server add-on? I don't actually. We use actually I do. Sorry, I took it back. We use a couple of things. Of course, we use Splunk. Okay. We also use Postgres read-only a lot. We try to understand what happened. Also we have the server CPU memory monitoring tool. Mainly I have three. Platform level, I have the CPU memory. Platform level, I have the CPU memory monitoring. The Splunk also can cover some of those as well. Then on the Tableau level, we use a lot Postgres customer views. The good news is that Tableau is going to release new version of admin view. The admin view has been old long time, but they are coming up with a new, completely different revisions of that. That's what I heard. Hopefully, it will give us a better way to do. And of course, I'm hoping that server management tool will become more scalable, so installation will be easier. Thank you so much. I think I got to the bottom of all the questions. Thank you so much for those who still with me. Post your further questions, more questions to the community. Great. Very nice to talk to you. Talk to you hopefully next month. Thank you, everyone. Bye.